Hi everybody! It's me, Susan Holt. I am an artist and I am live with you tonight for Zenstay Wednesday. Tonight I'm going to be putting some dot designs on a canvas, and I posted earlier today the designs that I wanted you to pick from, and you guys picked design number 3 out of 1, 2, or 3. So let me put this camera up on the light and I will be with you momentarily. Hi Melissa, thanks for joining me tonight. Okay, here we go. Okay. All right. So this is what I posted earlier. Posted this at 2 o'clock and I had 4 people vote. Hi Maria, hi Nyala. Nyala, I hope I'm pronouncing your name correctly since I don't know who you are in real life, and that makes me kind of happy and sad for many reasons, but I really wish I know how to pronounce your name. I'm doing good, Maria. How are you? Thank you for asking. So this is what we're working with tonight. So earlier, hi Kim, thanks for joining me. Earlier today, 2 p.m., I posted this, and I had Tila, Linda, Nyala, and Marcy comment, and they all voted unanimously for number 3. So this is the design. Oh no, Maria says she's a little sick tonight. I'm so sorry. I'm gonna blame all the cold weather and skiing where you're at. Hopefully it's just a little cold and that you'll get better soon. So tonight we're gonna do number 3, or I'm gonna paint number 3. So thank you all for letting me know what you wanted, which design you wanted. This is the painting I will be putting the dots designs on. Now I have a couple of different options for this piece, and I think I've settled on one, but I want to tell you what the options are in my head. Well, there's 3 options really. Option number 1, which I have decided against, is putting a mandala here, down at the bottom, and then a smaller one in here. I think it would cover up a little too much of what I kind of wanted to keep about the painting. Hi Connie, thanks for joining us. Welcome. My other option, option number 2, was to do a linear design that comes up here and then comes this way and up and around. But I didn't like how this comes off of the canvas up here, and I really didn't want to paint over this part right here because I think it's beautiful. So I've decided to go with option number 3 as well, and that is I'm going to put a mandala, a big spiral mandala here in this corner. That way it protects this part that I don't want to cover up, and most of this part and this part that I don't want to cover up, and even some of this stuff in here. And I'm going to give you a close-up right here, because that, I don't want to cover that up because it's just too pretty. So we're going to leave that. All right, let me check and see if my camera is going to be at the right angle. Put that where I can see it and where you can see it, and then we'll get started painting. I already have my apron on tonight. I've got my towel in my lap. Got my little tools ready to go. Oh, I need a paper towel. Got my paper towel. Nyala, is it Nyala or Nyala? I don't know, but it's a really pretty name. I like it. Either way, it's an interesting name. all my stuff. Right, I have my paint shaken and ready to go, and we are going to go with the large mandala on the bottom over here. And I don't have a center point that I want to use marked on this. I am just going to kind of guesstimate and eyeball it tonight because I've done so many of these that I can. So I do. All right. If at any time this evening you have a question for me, please put it in the comments. I will do my best to keep an eye on the comments and answer your questions and comment back to you during the video. But if for some reason I miss your comment or your question, I will go back through after the video is done for the evening. I rewatch it and then I comment back to you in the comment section later. Oh, I also have a lot of fun stuff to show you when we're done with the painting for tonight. So do stick around because I have some new things that I think some of you will be very interested in. So please stick around for that. Okay, here we go. We're gonna put the paint to the canvas. And this canvas is 11 by 14 inches. Just so you kind of have a scale. Oh, it'd be really creepy if this was like 24 by 36 and my hand was this big. Oh, that would be really creepy. But no, I'm a normal-sized human. I also crack myself up, so for those of you who are new here, if you hear me laughing about things, I think I'm hilarious. It's me just figuring out where I want this dot to go. All right, here we go. So this last week when I was putting this piece together, I realized that my white paint that I use for making these dots was a little chunky. So I was down to the bottom of the bottle. So I decided to clean it out. So it's real easy with acrylic paints. There wasn't much paint left in there. But I did strain that into a small cup and then put it back into the bottle because my grandmother always said waste not, want not. So I tried to do that as often as possible. Kind of keep things around that are still good and worth using. So I have brand new paint to paint with tonight. And it's so nice to paint with paint that is not kind of chunky. So if some of you have a keen eye, you'll notice that I'm adjusting my my concentric circles that will go out as I paint. So it doesn't need to be perfect. So Kim asks what kind of tools I'm using. These are basically metal embossing tools, but the art world has repurposed them for dot painting tools. And Carly's joining us. Hi Carly, how are you tonight? Good to see you here. So with the tools, if you wanted to purchase your own set, you can type in dot painting tools, or you can type in metal embossing tools, and the same little kit will pop up. This is, so there's kits out there that have all sorts of extras in them, and I didn't need any of the extras, so I just got the little cheapy one. And I had some pattern books for making dot mandala designs, but since I am creating my own designs with my spiral and linear designs, I sent them to a friend who wanted to try them out. I just made him pay for postage because I'm very nice. Sassy, but nice. And this is a tool, it's colored differently, the wood, from the others, and this one I've had for a lot longer. I used to use this one when I would do metal embossing or even gold leafing. It's been a couple years since I've done embossing, and it's been probably close to 10 years since I've done gold leafing. But I always keep my tools because they're such a good investment. You never know when you're going to need them again, especially for a project like this. So Carly says that she's been doing this kind of stuff for a while, but she apparently needs some better tools. When I started doing this, I actually was using pencils that I had stuck sewing pins in, and the pins were different sizes. Then I'd use the ends of my paint brushes because they were rounded as well. So sometimes it's not necessarily the tools you use, but how well practiced you are with those tools. There's an old adage that says practice makes perfect, and that is true with any career you choose, be it canine behaviorist or artist or belly dancer or parent or chef. You need to practice your craft, whatever your craft is. Acting, that's another one that you gotta practice. Carly says she just tied the ends off and that worked too. Yeah, that'll work. And sometimes tools that work for some people or the majority of people won't work for what you want them to. Like for some reason your hands and brain don't make the connection. So you just improvise and work with what works with you and for you. There's no hard and fast rule about making art, thank goodness. A friend of mine accused me of being a rule follower at one point. I said that, no, I'll follow the rules if they're good rules, if they're, for safety protocols and that kind of thing. But I want to know where the line is for all the rules. And I also want to know how far I can bend that line before it breaks. Now, laws are different than rules. I don't want to break any laws, because I would not do well in prison, and I know it. All right, let's see. Kim says her belly dancing days are over. You know, I thought as much as well with my ankles, but I'm thinking about getting back into it. I have a lot of friends who are belly dancers, and they're all different ages and different body types. And it's not necessarily about being young and beautiful and you know, completely showing your body. It's about moving your body. It's about movement and exercise. So I'm thinking that I might try it again. I need to do a little bit more strengthening of my ankles first. And I know that from how they feel today. But I do think I'll look up some YouTube videos and ask some of my belly dance friends some of the good ones for someone who's getting back into it, starting over again. Ayala says she was a dancer too. Small world. Indeed it is. And thanks to social media, it's kind of getting smaller and smaller. So I kind of like that aspect of it. All the friends of friends that we have. So this dot mandala is going a little slower than some of the ones I've painted for you live before, because I have more dots in my concentric circles going around. So usually I'll do 6 to 8, but this time I have 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I have 12. And I also like how a lot of my paintings look like that flourish of a scarf or a skirt coming off the sides, making a turn or doing a little swoop. Swoop. And I think painting is a lot like dancing. There's steps that you know and steps that you learn, but then you improvise a lot. Especially in social dancing. I used to teach and take lessons for ballroom as well, and that was super fun. I like taking the lessons better than teaching them. I don't know, there's just something nice about dancing. It gives you exercise and movement. It keeps you young, keeps you healthy, healthier, and it keeps your mind active. And then if you partner dance, it also, I think it helps a lot with spatial awareness, because you don't want to body slam the next couple who's dancing, and you don't want to hurt yourself. And with belly dancing, it's the same thing, especially if you're dancing in a a restaurant or a showcase with other people. So it gives you body awareness and spatial awareness. And it keeps your brain active and your body active. And you can do it at home in your sweatpants. So this mandala is going to kind of go off the edge and maybe off the bottom. We'll see what happens when I get around there. Yes, it is another way to communicate, just like art. Thank you for that. That comment. Yeah, art and dance and theater, they're all about communicating with other people. And I hope my art communicates with you guys. I always love to hear what people think my art is about, because it tells me what my art conveys to you. Because I know what it means to me. It gives me a sense of peace, calm, and joy. It gives me something to keep my mind active, because art is problem solving. Problem solving without numbers. So it's like awesome math. I have never been a fan of math. For those of you who are mathematicians, thank goodness that you understand math, because I certainly do not. I will stick to my art absolutely 100%. Math has always been my nemesis. My dad was going over the multiplication tables with me when I was in 4th grade. And I apparently was so stressed out that I fell asleep. We got through the 7s, but we never got to the 8s. So I passed the quiz the next day. But 8s and 9s to this day still completely escape me on the multiplication table. And then I have friends with younger kids, and they don't even teach the multiplication table anymore. They teach different ways for people's brains to understand math. And I look at some of those and I say, well, that makes complete sense. I wish they had that when I was a kid, because maybe I would understand it a little better. But I'm glad they're branching out. Part of making these dot designs is controlling the amount of paint you have on the end of your tool, your dot tool, because you want the dots to be, well, I want the dots to be similar sized for different applications. And sometimes that's the hard part. Hey Kim, I will definitely hit you up on the easy trick to remember the 9s. There's been a couple of them come along in recent years, and in theory, I like the one where you write out 9, 1, 8, 2, 7, 3, and then somehow it becomes magically what it's supposed to become, but I'm missing that little gap in there on how to put everything else together. So if you have an easier way than that, I am all for it. Because I do like to learn. But I also like the fact that there's a calculator option on my phone. All right, we're almost at the point where I'm going to do the design you picked. And I'm going to make it smaller than the size that's on here because that would not fit nicely on the ends here without crashing into the next spiral arm over. Marcy says that she never really got math until she studied fractals, then it made sense. Yes! I like fractals. I like looking at fractals. But the math part just still does not compute in my poor little head. Okay, so here we go. We're going to paint design number 3. That's this one right here. Oh, Carly says math was her thing. Yay! I'm glad my friends are so, and my followers on here are so diverse, because that means I have a lot of really smart people with hidden talents in my life. And anytime I ask for help on something, now I know who to go to for math. It's Carly and Kim. And Marcy for fractals. And now I have the song from Frozen about frozen fractals in my head. I don't know if you saw the post that I made yesterday about my little painting that is in the Venice International Art Fair in Italy right now. But I didn't see a photo of it on the website and the information that they sent me. So I emailed my contact and said, hey, you know, this is my first international big deal art show. Can you send me pictures of my piece in it? And she did, and I was thrilled that I have my own little wall. It's probably 18 inches or so, and it goes right past a doorway. So if you go through that doorway, you have to go right past my piece and look at it. But I thought they would have put it on a bigger wall with other pieces around it, but they didn't. So I have my own wall for another few days, and that made me so happy. I called my mom. Well, I called her today. I emailed her the pictures, then I called her. That was a nice chat. I am very lucky at 50 years old to still have both of my parents around. They're doing pretty good. So it's nice to be able to call and say, look, Ma, I have a wall. Thank you, Carly and Marcy, for the compliments. Yeah, it's pretty cool. You know, you put in for these shows, and I never expect to get into them. Well, I shouldn't say I never expect to get into them. I don't. Hi. If you hear whining, it's my dog. I don't count on getting into the shows, and so when I do, I'm always really happy. My husband will tell you that it makes my day. Just dipped my arm into some paint. All right. Luckily, I'm wash and wear. There we go. And I had a dog or cat hair in the paint. That's what that was. So we have a dog and we have a cat. They have fur. Sometimes the fur ends up in my paintings. I don't mean it to end up in my paintings, but it's encased in the paint or in the resin for my jewelry. All right, next one. When I started making dot paintings, I was not this fast. I know where I want to put my hands and where I want the dots to go, and I'm pretty well practiced at this point. All right, let's see. Hi, Jo Claire. She says, not sure if this is still live, but popping on to see what's happening. Hi. Hello. Yes, it's still live. Okay. And then for Jo Claire, since you're joining us, somebody else might be as well. This is what I posted earlier at 2 p.m. today. We had people vote. They chose number 3 for the design for the ends of my spirals, and I have just finished painting all of that. So let me wipe the paint drops up over here, put my paint away real quick, and then I will show you some other things that I want to show you tonight. So we're going to have a little bit of show and tell. Put that up there. Okay, there we go. Looks pretty good. I like that. Put that over there, and then I'll be right back. So I have figured out how I can provide original paintings, really high quality greeting cards, And then prints. Here is a small 6x6 print. The original is 8x8. This is 6x6. This one is either 10x10 or 12x12. And this one is on paper. And I have a local company who does a better job, who does the cards, because this one turned out too dark. So I'll go with the company that made the cards versus the company that made the canvases, because the canvases turned out really nicely. Card turned out really nicely, but this print did not. So I am going to use my local printer for this. And then if you want wrapped canvases for prints, I have a different company that does that. But of course, I have my original paintings, and this is in a wrap, so it's a little shiny at the moment. But if I take it out, it's a little bit more matte. So that is my news. If you want a print or a card for your loved one for Valentine's Day, this is the week to order. So order by, I'm going to say Saturday, so that the printers have time to print it, and then we can ship it and get it out to you. If you want an original, you can wait probably another week, and then I'll send those out. Let's see. Jo Claire has a question. She says, are your dots acrylics? Yes, they are. And her second question is, do they dry pretty fast? And I'm going to say it depends on the humidity in the air, if they dry fast or not. Because I mix my paint with flow mediums and some other stuff, and water them down a bit so that they can be used for the pour paintings, and so that the paint comes off of the end of my tools nicely. They do take longer to dry than your average acrylic paint right out of the tube. So when I say it depends on the humidity in the air, if it's monsoon season here in the desert, it can take a couple of days to dry. If it is cold, it can take a little bit longer to dry. But if it is hot and dry, like we have at the beginning of summer, end of spring, and during the fall, then usually the paints dry 24 to 36 hours-ish. So yeah. So if I wanted to build up the dots with more paint and have them be really 3D, and I did an example of this last week on the video. Not an example, but oh heck, what's the word? An experiment. I did an experiment last week. I think it was Saturday that I did that, just kind of off the cuff. But if I want to build those up so that they're three-dimensional, then I have to take multiple days and put dots on top of dots on top of dots on top of dots and really build up the paint. I haven't done that currently on my works unless they have smaller colored dots inside of the white ones, because I have stacked the dots on some paintings as well, but those aren't the same size a dot, which is what I'm talking about doing now. So those take a long time to kind of process and let dry and be patient about, and I am not known for my patience, but I can be patient when it comes to my art. Melinda is joining us. Hi, Melinda Starr. Thanks for joining me tonight. So, I have also, the beginning of January, I've opened up commissions. This is the first time I've been taking commissions on this type of art, and I have figured out how to do that, and I figured out how to work with my clients. So I have my first commission piece, and I'm very excited to start to work with her through this process and to get her exactly what she wants for her beauty salon space. So that'll be really nice to work on with her and for her. So that is my January spot for commissions. So if you are thinking about working with me for a commission, I will open up 1, maybe 2 a month as we go and I refine the process, but right now it's just 1 a month. So they are special, and I will post the beginning of each month when and how many commission spots I have open for that month. So other than that, I think that's going to do it for this evening. So I'll give you another look at this painting. Dun, dun, dun. Our little spiral mandala down there, or big spiral mandala down there. So next week I will post to ask you about titles for this piece, for this painting. I will come up with 3 that I think will go well with this painting, and I will put it in a poll format so you can add your own if you think that the titles that I have chosen do not match this piece. And we will come up with a title for it together, and then the week after that, when the painting is dry and titled and I put a little varnish coat on it, then everybody who watches live will have first dibs to purchase that piece. So that is how my months go. The first week in the month for Zen-Stay Wednesday, we do the painting live. This is the second week where we put the dots on live. The third week we do the title, and then the fourth week I say, "Ooh, isn't this cool?" and and offer it to you first. You get first dibs on my work so that nobody else can poach the painting that you might want out from underneath you, because you are my VIPs and I so appreciate having you here in my group with me. So thank you. Joe Claire says, cool. Thank you, Joe Claire. I have a lot of fun with my group, especially on Zen-Stay Wednesdays live. I try to be very interactive with everybody, so thank you. But also, thank you for all the comments and the likes and the hearts and the reactions and the shares. I appreciate them so much more than I think you guys will ever know. But that means a lot to me. Your support means a lot to me. So thank you. And that is it. That is it for me this evening. I hope you enjoyed Zen-Stay Wednesday tonight. I will see you in the comment section and in my group tomorrow. Have a lovely rest of your week. Bye, everybody.